Seahawks fans, wherever you may be, thanks for listening to the show. Join your hosts, Bill Alvstad and Keith Myers, as we talk Seahawks football. Hey, Seahawks fans, welcome back to another episode of the Seahawks Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Bill Alvstad, sitting down with co-host Mr. Keith Myers, here to talk Seahawks football and getting you ready for Super Bowl 60, Seahawks versus Patriots, next Sunday, February 8th, I believe it is. Keith, lots to talk about. We're going to take the next two shows to talk about the matchups, basically. In this show, we are talking about the Patriots defense versus the Seahawks offense. In the next show, obviously, we will focus on the Seahawks defense and the Patriots offense. Although there will be some crossovers as we kind of contrast and compare. But that's the primary focus. Thought we'd start off with a couple of things team news wise. Welcome in, Keith. How you doing?
Doing good. Yeah, a couple of interesting pieces of news. Depending on who you ask, the Seahawks are either for sale or they're not.
Yeah.
And you had an interesting, bringing Brock Huard's take into this, which I thought was interesting. So,
it started yesterday. I just saw the Schefter tweet about the Seahawks being for sale. It wasn't like potentially. It was the Seahawks are going to be for sale at the day after the Super Bowl. And that, while odd, it was from a very credible source. And then you start poking around a little bit, that it originated with Wickersham and our guy from ESPN, just lost his name.
Henderson.
Brady Henderson. And it's like, you can't get more credible than that, right? So it's like, wow. So that's when I texted you and I was like, this is crazy. And the timing is not optimal, but here we are. And then the team, like a few hours later, put out a statement essentially summed up as, the team is not for sale. Like, that was the quote. The team is not for sale. That was a standalone line in their statement. And they didn't say currently, right now, anything. They just said the team is not for sale. So come to find out, according to Brock Huard, he came out and said in writing that he believed through his sources that this story originated with the Patriots and the Kraft family. And there are currently owners meetings going on, and he believes that story was leaked to reporters from the Patriots, as framed as the Seahawks are talking to people here at the owners meeting about the team being for sale. And then I think that's how it kind of came to be. So what are your thoughts around that? Is it a distraction for the team? What about the statements? What about this coming from the Patriots, knowing their backstory and their history of disruption?
Well, it is a distraction, no matter where it came from, whether it's real or not, because the players are going to be getting asked about it for the next 2 weeks, and that's it is what it is. And you think, okay, the players are going to be able to focus, and it's not that big of a story to them because it doesn't really matter to the players. It's not like Jody Allen is around the team and is just a constant figure there where it constitutes a big change to them, but they'll still be getting asked about it, and it'll be annoying more than anything. But then the idea that this came from the Patriots makes so much sense, given the Patriots. So depending on your viewpoint, they either are masters of manipulation and trying to make things, or they're just like, they're the worst team at keeping football about football. And honestly, they need to just make football about football. And
Honestly, we just need to go beat them
yeah,
and make this a less prominent thing in the future. I mean, that's
yeah,
really how you beat that down, is you go ahead and just conquer them anyway.
yeah. They just do this kind
Um,
of crap all the time, and it's really it's unfortunate. It's annoying. It's like,
it's a
seriously.
timing issue, Keith, because obviously the team is going to be for sale at some time in the future. Most teams are, but they have it in their charter as the ownership group, and the way that that is structured via Paul Allen, that the team will go up for sale at Jody's timing.
Mhm.
And currently things are going very well. Obviously, she's become, I think, endeared to most Seahawk fans. They've done a great job. She doesn't interfere. Although I did hear this week that Mike Macdonald and Jody Allen do have conversations more frequently than I've heard before, on a weekly basis, basically.
That's okay.
Um, and it's not about her interfering. It's about her keeping her finger on the pulse of the team and just kind of reiterating the culture that they already have in place. So it seems symbiotic in nature,
Mhm.
and not a distraction for the coach. You can't say that about every franchise in this league, but it seems to be working very well. Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, and they're a very, very well run organization, top to bottom. You can just tell.
Well, and
Um,
that is the one thing that as fans we would be worried about this sale, is that, and I think I texted you this. A change in ownership is rarely a good thing because there are very few Paul Allens in the league, guys with the money to step in and buy a team and don't have the ego to think that they want to run the team. The Cleveland Browns are a great example. Like that was supposed to be the thing that saved that team. Was that they were getting this owner who was a minority owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, so he, kind of knew how it worked and had seen a um, healthy franchise where the owners don't get too involved and all of that. Um, and all he did after he bought the team was the opposite of that, and he has just been a big pain in the you know fans like butt for the whole time. Um, and so we don't, as Seahawks fans, we don't want that. We don't want a new owner to come in and like um, add their thing to it. I mean, it's look at even in Seahawks history, Ken Behring, right? He bought the team um, from the Nordstrom family, and then promptly, ran the talent and everything into the ground in an effort to move the team. Um, Paul Allen saved the Seahawks, and if Jody Allen wants to keep the team for a while because it continues to make money and it does its job to fund Paul Allen's um, philanthropic work, then please do. Please keep it. Please keep it as long as you want, because what they've got going on right now is that it's working, and it's been great for the football sides of things. It's been great for the fan side of things, and honestly, it's been great for the business side of things, because one of the things that came up in that Schefter tweet was that um, the expected sale price would be something in $7 or $8 billion, which would be the highest paid sale of an American sports team, eclipsing the Denver
I
Broncos from a couple of years ago, which was like five.
That made me drop my jaw a little bit, honestly. I thought, okay, so if they're for sale, it's going to be 5-ish. I mean, that's the valuation that you kind of read out there. The Seahawks are kind of mid tier as far
Mhm.
as the perceived valuation of franchises. But it's like everything else, Keith. When something goes up for sale, it resets the market. And
Mhm.
Seahawks are a well performing franchise in every aspect, right? Top to bottom, well performing, very well run,
Mhm.
rabid fan base. Couldn't ask for anything better as
Good
it
stadium
currently stands.
situation. Good stadium
All of it. They
situation.
own the
Uh,
stadium, right?
yeah, I mean, like the whole like stadium lease, those kind of situations that plague teams around in the country. Seahawks don't have any of that. Very strong fan base that travels well. Very good merchandise sale, compared to others. This is a really healthy football team, and not just the talent on the field, but from the business standpoint. So it doesn't surprise me that they would sell for enough to reset the market. Would a valuation come in as the highest valued team in the league? No, but the other teams aren't for sale, right? If Jerry Jones decided to sell the Cowboys, it would probably go for twice what Seattle does. I don't care. They're not for sale. Seattle, according to one report, is. And so that's why Seattle's going to set the market.
I think,
but I don't think they're going to sell. And
yeah,
like the report was a surprise because there have been no indications that this is coming. This isn't like when the Blazers went up for sale and Jody Allen and the Paul Allen Trust sold them. That had been in the works. You had seen it coming for a bit. This has been like, no, we're not doing this right now. And then suddenly, oh, it's going to happen tomorrow. It's like, really? So I don't know. I was skeptical. I was a little scared because I'm worried about it. But at this point, I'm just going to trust Brock Heward's sources and being like, I think this is probably just the Patriots being their typical stupid selves.
The Brock Heward source and statement, plus the statement directly from the team.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to believe that Jody Allen herself will communicate with the team what the real standing is so that there's no ambiguity and they're not sitting in limbo somewhere wondering what's going on. So I'm not concerned about it, knowing that that's probably how it's going to go down. And then if it is for sale and the original story was correct after the Super Bowl, then so be it. And we'll figure that out. We'll have more conversations about it. But for now, I think it's a dead issue. The other issue I wanted to talk about prior to our main conversation was just kind of going over where Klint Kubiak is as far as his coaching opportunities to be a head coach in this league. Looked like it was kind of an afterthought as early as a week ago, in that you hadn't heard anything for a while. He didn't have really anything scheduled officially out there.
Because
and there was only two opportunities. Right. I get that. But there was only two opportunities left, the Cardinals and the Raiders, less than optimal situations, both. Cardinals less so even. I would say, based on what I'm hearing, is that two things. If it was just the Cardinals' job, he would come back. He would rather stay with the Seahawks as an offensive coordinator and pass on that job. The Raiders situation is a little different at this point. There's quite a bit more interest overall on both sides, apparently. And the Davis, Mr. Davis, the owner, met with, according to our own Dan Viennes, tweeted out that his past coworker at a restaurant in Seattle saw Davis dining with Kubiak last night, Friday night, and then that they were scheduled to have a formal second interview today, and the Cardinals also second interview today. I don't know if that's courtesy or if it's really seeing what the Cardinals come forward with as far as their best foot forward. But I was saying before we pushed record just how expensive this could get, according to reports, not me making up numbers, just Schefter and others potentially reporting that to get him to sign as a head coach, that number could push $15 million a year, which would be Ben Johnson type numbers from last year.
That's crazy.
And part of that is it's a competition between two teams, and you're going to put your best number forward, and that's where it's at. Now it could be as low as 12 or so. I don't think it goes much lower than that. That's kind of where the market is right now. Even if you've got a young, inexperienced coach, that's where you're coming in at, and that's a lot of money for a guy who's only made $1 million a year and only for the last few years. And then prior to that, he was a quarterbacks coach and wasn't making nearly that much.
Yeah.
And potentially an opportunity for stability and so on and so forth, even though it's not the perfect situation, but it's pretty good. Like the Raiders are not great. They've had a horrible history for the last 30 years, et cetera, but they do have $82 million in cap space next year, ranked second overall in the NFL and the number one overall pick. They're going to get their quarterback Mendoza.
Yep.
That's an incentive to work with if you're Klint Kubiak. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts that is my thought is that if they're going to pay and you have assurances that they're not going to go cheap on your coordinators, so that way you can hire the people you want, then yeah, you're talking about having the first overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, who is the best player in this draft, as far as best draftable player, because of his position and quality. And so you're going to get your franchise quarterback that gets you out from underneath the revolving door of Geno Smith and everything else that's been going on there. And you've got
and an early pick in each round, plus 2 picks in the fourth round.
And you've got $80 million to revamp your roster. And so you can come in and you can be like, okay, I need to get rid of certain aspects of the locker room, bring in guys that are going to reinforce the culture I want, and just make instant changes to turn a team around. It's an enticing offer. I mean, honestly, it's the only concern I would have is the Davis family, because they are notoriously cheap. They don't have business interests besides the Raiders. That's what they do. They don't have some sort of business empire that they can draw funds from when they need it. It's their business interests are the Raiders. So there are times when they go super cheap because they have to. That would be my concern, is just that. They also did move to Vegas to help eliminate some of that, because they got really good terms on like their lease and all of that. So so maybe that isn't the concern it once was when they were in Oakland, but that's really it. It is. People look at them like, oh my God, they're so terrible and they've been terrible forever. And why would you want that job? Well, that's why you'd want that job, because it's kind of a blank slate. You can come in and just like fix a lot of things and right away, and you can really build that team how you want it built.
I think you would need some
first pick in the draft and you have all that cap space.
I would think that you would probably want some assurances or obviously guarantees in your contract that would allow you at least a 3-year run up. Yeah, they won 3 games this year. Let me get to 5 or 6 next year. Keep me.
Mm-hmm.
We've shown clear improvement, and allow him to develop the roster and develop a quarterback. Because I think that's where his strengths are. In the past, he's developed quarterbacks, and he's developed Sam Darnold. Helped develop Sam Darnold when he was at in San Francisco the same year.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, good opportunity. It would be a challenge for us at this stage of the game to hire not only an offensive coordinator but a coaching staff below that. You would imagine there will be several coaches currently under him here in Seattle that would leave with him. I wouldn't blame them.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe
honestly,
Seattle finds their internal candidate and we hold on to a few, but
that's what I was thinking, is some are going to go with him, because if he gets promoted to head coach from offensive coordinator, then they look at it and they go, well, if I'm quarterback coach, I can become offensive coordinator there. That's a promotion. That's a big raise. And they'll look at some of that, and some of it is, there are some relationships. But a lot of those guys are under contract with Seattle. So if it's not a promotion, he can't take them unless Seattle releases them. And so there's going to be an opportunity. We're like, okay, well, let's promote Benton to be the offensive coordinator. and then keep all the guys that would not be getting promotions to follow him. And I think that is kind of probably the route they're going to go, because a lot of the guys that you'd want are off the market now, because there were so many teams. There was was it 10 teams this year that fired their coach?
And we're going to be last essentially to build a roster,
yeah.
unless it's unless the Cardinals outlast us.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals situation, like, I don't see
it's so bleak, dude.
I
I'm
don't
here in the
see
Valley,
the
and
appeal.
everyone is turned on that team. It's just awful. They're slowly, not even slowly, rapidly becoming the worst franchise in the NFL.
No,
and it's hard to
the
watch.
Cleveland
It's
Browns
just,
still exist.
yeah, but nobody wants this job. No, the quarterback position is completely unsettled. They have middling funds available in 2026 in free agency. They don't have high draft capital. They still owe Kyler Murray $50 million no matter what in 2026 on his contract, and this franchise is in danger of becoming really bad, and bad for many years to come. And who would want that job?
Yeah,
other than just a money grab. Just go get your money, and if you make it more than 1 year, that's a bonus.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. I'm surprised they're not reaching out to like the Chip Kellys of the world and being like, "Here, come in, turn this around if you can. If not, enjoy your money and go back to college." and help us withstand the next couple of years while we clean out all of this cap nonsense, and then we can reset.
Yeah,
that Kyler Murray contract is killing them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Okay, so let's get into this show. We're talking about the Patriots defense versus Seattle's offense. Why don't you kind of set this up for us, if you can, just generally, like, where does Seattle stand in your mind, or using stats? And where are the Patriots? I know last week when I mentioned the Patriots, I thought were a pretty decent defense. You really were kind of surprised and taken aback a little bit about that statement for me.
Yeah.
And I just want your thoughts, like a week later, like, where are you at with that?
I'm still where I was then. This is a team that ranks like 23rd, I think, in DVOA defensively. They are the Chicago Bears of the AFC. They are very good on offense. They're very young on offense, so they do make some mistakes as far as that, but their talent is there. But defensively, they're not a good football team. And I'm sorry to New England fans who might be listening to this, but they're not. They need another year of drafting and talent acquisition before that defense is going to be formidable. It's not.
So let me ask you this really, really quick. Do you think that the DVOA is absolutely true, and they have the easiest schedule, like the third easiest schedule of all time, going back to 1978, DVOA wise, strength of schedule?
Mm-hmm.
But their scoring defense, now you can attribute this all to the Patriots offense if you want, but their scoring defense is interesting. I mean, Seattle's 17.2 on the season, up through the playoffs. The Patriots are 18.8. They're ranked fourth in scoring defense.
Okay, who did they play? How many times do you get to play teams like the Jets and the Dolphins before that becomes a massive?
We can factor that in, but let me continue just a second. Yards per game, 375 yards per game, ranked fourth. That's their offense. Yards allowed, 294, which is eighth. Rushing defense, Patriots is allowing 101.7 yards per game. Seahawks are 10 yards better at 91. Pass defense, Seahawks are 193.9 yards per game. Patriots are 193.5, just slightly better than the Seahawks. Red zone defense, Seahawks is ranked fifth. The Patriots are ranked 30th in red zone defense. Third down defense, Seahawks are first. Patriots are 12th. I'm just showing Seahawks just as a comparison so we kind of have an idea. Sacks wise, Seahawks are 47 sacks. Patriots are 35 sacks. Hurries, Seahawks have 73. Patriots have 34. So this is a team that does not usually get after the quarterback. Pass defense, Seahawks have 96 of those. Patriots 67. Interceptions, 18 for the Seahawks. Patriots are at 10. EPA, the Patriots defense is 11th overall. Seahawks are second overall. DVOA, you're right, 23rd overall. 25th in passing, 17th in rushing, DVOA. So you're right in that strength of schedule plays highly into the stats, plus their offensive production, keeping their defense off the field. Talk to me about that as the dynamic that you're kind of looking at to make your case that their defense versus our offense. Really, let's focus on that. Why does this give us an opportunity to find success against a defense where, if you listen broadly, I'm hearing more and more about this Patriots defense being somewhat formidable and coming on in the later stages and in the playoffs. And something that maybe we should be concerned about.
I think if you look at the older school stats, it does look like they're better than they are. If you look at the newer school stats, DVOA, for instance, that takes into account the quality of the opponent, it really tells the story. And what it comes down to, like, just those pass rush stats alone, they are not a team that gets after the quarterback. Well,
even with the weakest schedule in the planet.
Yeah, even with the weakest schedule on the planet and a lot of leads, so the other teams are throwing the ball a lot, they still couldn't get after the quarterback. And how do you, like, when Sam Darnold looks human, it's because he has guys in his face and a lot of pressure, like, right away. If you can't get pressure on Sam Darnold, he will pick you apart. He's like one of the best deep passers in the NFL. And they're also not a great run defense. Like, if you look at the teams that give Seattle's offense and really make them struggle, they win at the line of scrimmage. They win against Seattle's offensive line. And so that just puts Seattle behind as far as trying to do things. The Patriots lack the players to win at the line of scrimmage against Seattle. They don't have the pass rushers. They don't have the run stuffers. They do have some talent, on the back end and stuff, but that's not where you need to be good if you want to beat Seattle. You need to be good up front. It's not a great matchup for them, and I just don't see this as being something that trying to figure out how to word this. It's not a good matchup if you're the Patriots. Like, this is
one area where they match up. One area, I will give them this. So Seattle, Sam Darnold leads the NFL in DVOA, 57.1 percentage on play action passes. Since week 10, the defense with the best DVOA against play action passes is New England at negative 36.4. So they do play action pretty well, especially with Gonzalez on the back end, Christian Gonzalez, and then getting a little bit of pass rush from Milton Williams. I mean, those two players, I think, are the key to that defense having any success at all. And they can, I think they can force you. They could stack some boxes and kind of slow down Seattle's run game, I think, a little bit. I think wide zone, the success we've been having lately kind of gives us an advantage there. I think our balance gives us a real advantage in this game, but we can talk about that in a minute. But let's focus on their defense still. So your thought process is they've played a weak schedule. It's padded the stats. They're not really as formidable, and we've played better teams, better defenses, and found success with our offense, especially the last half of this season when it comes to running the ball and with Sam Darnold not turning the ball over. those really give us an advantage. Or is that your thought process?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Seattle when Sam Darnold has turned the ball over. The games have been closer, and they've had the one loss to the Rams, and that. But even when he turned the ball over, they had chances to win those games. In the games where he didn't turn the ball over, they've had one game that was close, and that was the NFC title game. All the other times, if Sam Darnold's not turning the ball over, the Seahawks have been winning in blowouts. And I look at that. That's kind of the story here is, do the Patriots have the players? Do they have the beasts up front to cause Sam Darnold to turn the ball over a lot? I don't see it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, tell me I'm wrong with this, but I don't see where the pressure is going to come from on Darnold, how they're going to be able to get him rattled. Who's going to do it?
Yeah, I agree. When you look at this matchup analytically, when you look at this matchup yards against, points against, it seems close. When you look at it analytically, like you said, it's not a balanced fight. Seattle's offense attacking the Patriots defense, I think, is kind of key. Winning on early downs. I think getting that run game going, having a balanced attack, explosive plays out of the run game, potentially with Ken Walker. Explosive play opportunities with Sam Darnold with time in the pocket. I think that's a real challenge for the Patriots. There's no worry, I don't think, about, I think there was a worry like when the Patriots played the Texans and when they played the Broncos in the playoffs. Those were less than optimal offenses at the time that they played them.
When they played the Broncos, they had no quarterback.
Well, of course. And there was a blizzard in the second half. Yeah. Both those things are true. Absolutely, right? They haven't faced like a Sam Darnold attack on offense yet. That sounds kind of weird. I know. But
Sam Darnold,
he's really good. He's really good at play action passes and explosive plays. He leads the NFL in both categories.
Yeah.
And those are two areas where I think we can exploit their defense.
Playing against Sam Darnold and Seattle's offense is different than playing against Jared Stidham and Denver's offense in a blizzard. Like, let's not.
And they won that game. 7-3? Was that the score? I think.
No, it was 10-7. 10-7, okay. and there were combined at least 4 missed field goals in that
game. So I think the deal for Seattle against their defense is clock control. You want to keep the ball away from Drake May, obviously. You want to be able to run the ball, take some time off the clock, pass efficiency, even on early downs. You want to play aggressive. I think that you don't want to play too conservative in that you're trying to limit turnovers so much in this game. I think you're allowing Sam Darnold to really kind of play to his strengths in this game, and also have Ken Walker help you out on the run game. I think their pass efficiency, overall efficiency, really leveraging first and second down to get in short, third and go, third and 2, third and 1, is really the key to this game, as well as, we'll talk about our defense, but just incorporating it into the overall picture. On when we're on defense, we're wanting to limit their explosive plays and force them into third and longs and get them off the field. That combo has been working for us for a long time this season. We talk about it almost every week because it's a surefire win when we do both on offense and on defense, and that's the formula.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's been kind of remarkable this year, and I know you and I keep saying this, is Seattle's margin of error. is pretty big. For almost any team in the league and almost any Seattle team in history, that Woolen sequence in the NFC title game would have cost him the game. But it didn't, because they're good enough to just overcome stuff like that. And you look at the first Rams game, 4 interceptions by Sam Darnold, and they still had a field goal kick at the end to win. Like, that's the type of margin of error that you just don't see. You can't make those mistakes and then still win games and do it regularly. But the Seahawks made a lot of mistakes this year, and it didn't cost them because they're that good. Do you look at the Patriots? Does anybody outside of the Boston area look at the Patriots and think that that's true for them? I don't know.
So talk to me about Seattle's multifaceted passing attack. That sounds kind of crazy, but it really is if you break it down. Look at all the receivers, all the weapons out of the backfield, etc. Talk to me about how that presents some challenges to the Patriots defense.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is everything starts with JSN, right? Because you have to know where he is. You have to figure out what you're going to do. You got to bracket coverage him at least on every play. And they also have to have a plan, because the Rams didn't have a plan for when JSN was in the backfield. Because the Seahawks would motion him in and line him up, in the backfield, which put him on linebackers coming out. And honestly, you put the best receiver in the NFL on a linebacker, and you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat every time. And he had a monster game.
At best, it's box safety, right?
Yeah. And so you can't do that. But if you're going to bring a cornerback down, what does that do to all your zones? Now, do you have to shift a linebacker into a safety role so that way you can, you know what I mean? Like you have to have a plan. You got to be able to do things, and you're hopefully not putting guys into a position to fail because they don't have the skills to account for all of that. But you have to figure that part out. And then you still have to cover a guy that's almost uncoverable. And when you're making the defensive players think a lot and do stuff that's outside of what their normal responsibilities are, that doesn't go well for you most of the time. And so these are the kinds of things, and like I said, and that's just JSN. Now you've got Cooper Kupp, who, yes, I know he's not the same guy he was earlier in his career, but he's still a great possession receiver. He's still a guy that moves the chains a lot, has good hands, all of that. And you throw in the absolute speed of Rashid Shaheed and his ability to get past anyone. Like,
I think he might be an X factor in this game.
I agree. I think so too. He only had 1 catch against the Rams in the NFC title game.
He doesn't even have to have any catches to be a factor.
Yeah, because he's just got to keep that. He's got to keep that free safety deep. If that free safety is backing, starting out, 20 yards downfield and backing up from the moment the snap is, he's impacted every play. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But I think he'll have some chances, and I think you're going to see him. We didn't see him on a jet sweep at all in the Rams game, and I don't think we saw it against the 49ers either.
We did see it. We did see it against the 49ers. He had like a 35-yard run.
Oh, that's right. He did around the end. That's right. Around the right side. But yeah, we didn't see it against the Rams. He's gonna have a chance to do that. And maybe you do things where you fake it to him on that jet sweep. Everyone's kind of looking for it, and then they like, oh, it's not there, and they respond, and then you flip it out to him in the flat and let him just keep running.
Yeah. Or you flip it to the other side to a guy like Ken Walker in the flat on opposite side.
You
get the defense moving one way.
To turn that jet sweep action into a wheel route and throw it down the sideline to him. There's lots of things that you can do, and his speed puts a lot of pressure on defenses. And you can throw in Barner at linebacker, at tight end against linebackers. He had a good year. He kind of has fallen off. We haven't called his name much in the last month or so, but he could always, this could be the game where they go back to him and he gets 7 receptions like he did 6 weeks ago. So, I mean, it's a situation where Seattle does put a lot of pressure on opposing coverage schemes because of the diversity of the players that they have and the fact that they can move guys around. You'll see JSN, in the slot on the outside in the backfield. You'll see Rashid wide out on one side. He'll come into the slot. He'll motion across the field and from the slot to the outside on the far side. And it causes teams to basically declare what their coverage is going to look like ahead of time in order to try and account for all of the unique pieces. Because if all you have to do is motion Rashid across the formation to get a matchup that you want, in terms of getting him on a slower cornerback or a safety or whatever, then you're going to do that all game and you're going to dominate. They have to be able to account for Shahid's speed, which means they're going to have to move guys if he goes across the formation, and get their faster players, their switch their zone concepts so that way to account for his movement. They're going to declare what they're doing before pre-snap, and that only makes life easier. That's part of the reason why Seattle's passing attack has been so good at times this year, is because the opposing teams end up having to tell Sam Darnold what they're going to do. And Kubiak's offense is just so well designed to take advantage of some of that stuff.
So talk to me about the unit that makes all this happen, the offensive line. What are your expectations? How far have they evolved this year? What are your expectations in this game?
Well, what we've seen in terms of their evolution is they've really started to mesh in those outside zone concepts in the running game, and there was a lot of problems early in the season. They kind of ran a lot more inside zone because it's simpler. It's easier to make work. But when they've shifted as they've gotten better at the outside zone and they've gotten that to work, it makes the offense click just that much easier because you're getting defensive players moving laterally instead of forward, so they're not in the backfield. And then also, if they're moving laterally at the snap because they're thinking because it's play action or whatever, they're not attacking your quarterback. And it allows you to move Sam Darnold around so that way pass rushers don't have a spot that they can get to, right? They have to adapt throughout the play. And their pass rush moves are not they're not set up because most of them are set up. You have a spot you want to get to, so your pass rush moves in an attempt to get to that spot. But if you move that spot, well, then that move didn't work, and you're out of position to make a play. So, they move Sam Darnold around and those kind of things. But pass blocking is when Anthony Bradford isn't falling on his ass and giving up instant pressure. Pass blocking has been a strength of this team. And so, and in a game where you're playing a team that does not get pressure, their pass rush win rates are pretty low. You're just, I mean, really, as a team that is the Patriots, how many times can you just depend on Anthony Bradford failing? I don't think that's a sustainable model for good defense. Is just asking an opponent to fail repeatedly. So, I mean, this is a situation where you got have this set up, and um, it's a real tough matchup for New England because Seattle's front is
So
not.
it sounds like your confidence level is really high. Like
It
everything
is.
that you've been talking about today is like, there's nothing that you've said that has diminished or knocked this offense down a little bit in any way where you're worried about certain matchups or certain levels of their defense having an impact on what we're trying to do.
There's a reason for that. I don't see the players. I don't see the playmakers on this roster. I think it's a matchup that benefits Seattle greatly, because if you want to beat Seattle, you have to be able to attack them in certain ways, and those are the parts of
You have to win
New
in the
England's
trenches.
defense. Yeah, that's the part of New England's defense that I don't see the talent to consistently win against Seattle in the trenches. Am I missing something? Are you seeing more than what I'm seeing?
I think their best bet, I think, is playing a mix of man and zone that would have some coverage help for their defensive line, and then they do blitz about league average, but they don't really get home with it very much. And I think Seattle has had some. Seattle's very much road tested, Keith. Very much battle tested coming into this game. They've played, probably a top 10 strength of schedule, but in their own conference has just been those games have been battles, and against some really good defensive fronts. And I think that Seattle's well equipped in this game to find success if they play within themselves. Don't try to be too cute at times. You don't want to run a bunch of trickery, or you don't have to. You just run your offense. You mix in some early passes on early downs. You run on some early downs. You just try to have a really nice balanced approach. And I think you can find some success. I think if you are running into some pressure situations, one of the things you can do is run some tempo to help alleviate some of that. You can run some short pass plays, some screens to help with aggressiveness on the defensive front. And I think Kubiak has just shown a level of competence this year. We've lost 3 games with 9 points overall.
Yeah.
He has shown a level of competence in every game that if one thing's not working, or if they want to take away something, we can pivot and go to another thing. This wasn't like last year with Ryan Grubb, where we could only do one thing really well last year, and that was it.
We couldn't do
teams figured that out.
We couldn't do anything really well last year.
Well, you know what I mean. There was some shot. We took some shots, and the passing game, that was it. That's all we could do. We couldn't run the ball effectively at all. So no team had the scheme for that. This offense requires that you scheme for every situation and defend every blade of grass, and it's hard. It's hard to do against this offense. And Sam Darnold has just been outstanding in taking care of the ball the last month and playing within himself, and this offense in general has just been firing on all cylinders. And I don't see that stopping against a defense that's not any better really than any other defense we've faced this year. And honestly, probably worse or on par with maybe 49er defense, where they've got 1 or 2 players at a couple of different positions that might impact the game. And you can kind of scheme around those guys. And when you do, there's nobody else. There's opportunity. And so that's kind of the way I see it. But anything else before we kind of head out on this show? And then our next show, we will come back and we will focus on Seattle's defense against their offense.
The only thing that I'm just going through like notes and everything. The only thing that you look at is, how much do you trust George Holani with Charbonnet out? Like, because Ken Walker needs to come off the field sometimes, right? He can't play every play. You got to have.
Are you just talking about in pass pro?
Just in general. Like,
I mean, based on his last game performance and based on some earlier performances this season, I have a pretty decent feeling about him running in certain situations. I mean, if you limit him to 5 or 7 touches overall, like running and maybe catching the ball out of the backfield or whatever. And then some pass pro when he's in there, which he looks like he's competent, a willing participant, trying really hard. I think that I'm feeling okay about it. I mean, this is one game. He's got 2 weeks to prep. I think that the confidence level in him, I think with the team, and he's been with the team all year, been in practice, I think it's high.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I was just looking at the, his stats for against the Rams. I think he averaged 1.9 yards per carry, which wasn't good. And he had a pretty bad drop. And he's a willing participant as a pass blocker, but that doesn't mean he's a particularly good pass blocker. Like, let's pick up.
He's undersized a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see this as that's a glaring weakness where you're gonna that's where the Patriots are gonna come in and be able to beat Seattle. This is a guy that's gonna play 10, 12 snaps unless it's a blowout. But that is like you start looking for where are the things that where are the possible issues, right? That's one where I see obviously Anthony Bradford is that issue in every single game.
Let me ask you this.
I'm running out of items for my list.
How about Cooper Kupp or tight end? Like, you could point to Shaheed as not being a factor. And so you really only have to focus. If you take JSN out, and some teams have successfully at least taken him out for half of a game anyway, that could be somewhat of an opportunity. Is a guy like Arroyo, is he even going to be active in this game? And do they even trust him, having not played for the last 8-10 weeks or whatever, and then not really having an impact when he has been available, for the most part? Is he a threat? Could he pop? Could he give you a 25, 30-yard reception at a key moment in the game to help take the top off of defense because he's open in the seam because nobody's paying attention to him? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I think that when you look at him, his lack of polish and lack of run blocking ability when he was healthy is enough to give me pause and be like, let's not mess with what's been working.
Yeah. Even though Callerup is not going to give you anything,
yeah. I mean, and maybe that's it. Is that you bench Callerup and that whatever he was giving you, Arroyo can at least match, but then he gives you that threat of speed and just something else make the Patriot linebackers think about. Because if you overcommit to the run on a play action, you're not catching up to Arroyo.
Last game against the Rams, Robbie Oots was inactive, although healthy. Do you activate a guy like Robbie Oots in a game like this where you really intend on running the ball?
That was an interesting choice for him to be a healthy scratch. I would say I would want him active in this game because I'm expecting to run the ball and run the ball a lot and just run over the Patriots because you're going to win at the line of scrimmage. So it's going to be more like the San Francisco game than the LA game, right? As far as the running success. And you want that extra blocker, you want that extra dynamic in there in order to make that work. So I would like to have him active, but who do you deactivate to make room for him?
Well, they've already declared that Brady Russell is the special teams captain in this game. So we already know the answer, that Brady Russell will be available on the roster. And so is there a spot for Robbie Oots?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
So you'd have to look at, you're not going to, as little impact as he's had on offense, a guy like Tariq Young is in on every special teams
a guy that helped you so much on special teams last week. He recovered that fumble, almost recovered another one.
I mean, just he has been, he has been fantastic on special teams. And he offers you a little on offense. If somebody gets hurt, he's got that speed and size to do some things, even if he's not a great route runner and he doesn't change direction at a high enough speed to get open all the time. He still has that size speed combination that can do some things. And so I don't think you have him. Is it Jake Bobo? Is that the guy that you lose in order to keep a Robbie Utes active? Right? I don't know. I
Guy that
think that
scored a touchdown last game.
I think that you are in a situation where, because Brady Russell is the special teams captain and he's done a lot of really good special teams things all year, and they've just basically been like, they've decided that even though he offers nothing on offense, that he is necessary on special teams, that Robbie Utes, there probably isn't a spot for him. I'd love to have Utes out there in that running game. He's fun. He gets right up into that
We've
hole and
shown the
clobbers
last 6 weeks that we haven't needed him.
Yeah.
They haven't been using a fullback.
Not really. I mean, they did some, but they don't go to the fullback that often. As far as like within the running game, even when he's active,
Thought it
he's
would be
getting
much more of an impact this year, and it just turned out that it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think teams were keying on the fullback a lot. They were basically using the fullback, which is why the fullback has gone out of style in the NFL, is because linebackers basically use the fullback as a cue as to where the running back's going, and so they're able to get there quick and that kind of stuff. So if they don't get blown up in the hole by the fullback, it ends up negating the impact of the fullback, and the fullback typically doesn't offer them anything in terms of the passing game or that kind of stuff. So it ends up, I don't know. The Seahawks just haven't. They didn't use him much, even when he was active, because they think they wanted to make sure that it looked like everything was possible. And when you bring your fullback in, and he doesn't offer anything to your passing game, you're essentially declaring this is probably a run. And Jake Bobo was kind of the same way for chunks of the year too, and he also saw his playing time drop because when he was in there, the Seahawks were declaring, we're probably running at you, and more than likely they did. And then of course Bobo gets a touchdown in the NFC title game to get the Seahawks to the Super Bowl, which, man, talk about playing the long game in terms of selling.
Yeah.
No.
So, just like every other game, Keith, what I'm hearing overall from both of us is that, again, it really doesn't matter who the opponent is. It's basically Seattle's game to dictate terms, and it's our game to lose. I mean, at least on the offensive side. We're going to talk about the defense, but I think we know the answer to that one too. But it sounds like, you expect Seattle to control this game on the offensive side of the ball.
I do. I really do. The teams that made life interesting were like the Rams, teams with really good defenses, that were good up front. You've got to be good up front. You've got to be able to move Sam Darnold around. You got to be able to get him off his spot, make him throw before he wants to. Just pressure his production in the NFL, and the Rams were really good at that. Patriots aren't, and it's just not a good matchup for them. I really just don't think that the Patriots are good in the ways that you have to be in order to beat Seattle. They're good in other ways.
So worst case
important.
scenario is you feel like Seattle can pretty much stay on pace with the Patriots offense.
Yes, worst case scenario is that it becomes like where the two teams are are
I mean, we did
matching
it
blow
with
for blow.
the Rams twice.
And the Rams are the Rams are a better defense. That's a better defensive team in LA than it is in New England.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams were the second best team in the NFL. And I don't think it was that close between them and the rest of the field.
I think most people agree with you, but man, everyone is trying to sell this Patriots team as being something that can at least be competitive in this game. I mean, everyone wants that to be the narrative. I get that.
Everyone wants that to be the narrative because it's how, if you're ESPN, what are your ratings like? If basically you're telling everyone to believe that this is going to be a blowout, people are going to be like, okay, well, I guess it's not even interesting.
Right.
So they're going to sell the Patriots.
Cool.
They're going to sell the Patriots hard, and they're going to look for evidence that's going to support it. And you can look at things like their scoring defense and be like, their defense is really good. Their defense played a lot of really crappy quarterbacks. Like they play the Jets twice a year. They play the Dolphins twice a year. I mean, this is a team that only beat one team that ended the year with a winning record. They won one game against a team with a winning record all season. In a 17-game schedule, they won one. And it was an October victory over the Bills. That's it.
They lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Bills.
How do you lose to the Raiders?
And they won everything else, though.
How does any team lose to the Raiders?
Well, it was the first game of the year. And how did we lose to the 49ers?
Yeah, that's fair. They also played Cincinnati when Joe Burrow was out. They played Cleveland, which they're freaking Cleveland. They played Minnesota with no quarterback. Which granted Seattle did too, but Seattle just absolutely they were playing backups for most of the second half because it was a blowout. But I
think everyone likes to focus on their last, the last games that they played. They played the Ravens 28-24, which was a close game. They beat the Jets by 32 points. They beat the Dolphins by 30 points.
Who cares?
They won against the Chargers in the playoffs, held them to 3 points. They beat the Texans 28-16. They obviously beat the Broncos, and now they're here. It's like they've kind of gone through the season with some breaks.
Did you watch the game against the Texans? CJ Stroud looked like he didn't know what a football was.
And he struggled in our game too.
I saw a lot of jokes about, wow, did he play drunk? He looked awful. And he wasn't looking awful because the
Nico Collins was out in that game.
Yeah. And then they beat Denver, but they beat Denver without a quarterback. I mean, literally, Jared Stidham completed one.
And I'll say that the Patriots did not look that great in that game. Their defense didn't look that great. The Broncos were a mess, obviously. But I thought that, the Broncos defense played the Patriots pretty well. Now the snow really impacted that game in the second half, but
what happened in the first half?
Yeah, nothing great.
When the weather was good, Denver's defense dominated that game.
All the Patriots fans think that Drake May is going to go into a really nice weather stadium and play his ass off. It's kind of crazy. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention this too. Drake May hurt his shoulder in that Denver game, and he's on their injury report with his right shoulder and sickness this week. Now that shoulder is going to be something to monitor. We don't know. They're not saying anything. Nobody's going to say anything before this game. But it's going to be interesting to see how much he practices and his early throws in that game will be interesting to watch.
He's sick this week, which is the week of where a lot of the prep goes, because next
They
week becomes
installed first, second, and third down plays when he was out.
next week is there's so much circus the week leading up to the Super Bowl that teams try and
They don't even practice. They don't even practice again until Wednesday.
Yeah, they try and do so much of their serious practicing, their install, all that stuff during the bye week. Then they go and they have like one practice and a couple of walkthroughs, and so this last week really mattered. And Drake May was sick, which sucks for him. Like that's just timing. He'll be better healthy before the Super Bowl. So but the lack of prep is a thing. And then the shoulder injury. Like you look at what I mean, Sam Darnold had that oblique injury the last couple of weeks, and
Right.
you saw against the 49ers, he couldn't hit the deep ball. He was pulling everything hard to the right when he tried to throw the ball deep. Wasn't a problem against the Rams because he'd healed enough. Where is Drake May going to be in terms of that shoulder injury? Is he going to
They
not
need
bother
Drake
him?
May. They need Drake May because their running game is okay. I mean, Travion Henderson. And
they need Drake May to if the Patriots are going to compete in this game, they need Drake May to freaking be a hero, which he's capable of. Like he is a very, very good player. But they need him to freaking carry that entire roster. And the lack of practice time.
I would imagine
injury,
the only chance that they have is to throw the ball 40 plus times in this game. And he may get that chance because I do believe Seattle's going to play from a lead. Now that there's one way the Patriots can win, and that's if they're playing with a lead and it gets a little bit more interesting. But I don't foresee that, and they don't play well trying to catch up. Like Drake May turns the ball over. Like he has interceptions and he's a fumble machine. Like in the last 3 games, I think he's got they've got 15 sacks against him, and he's got 6 turnovers in the last 3 games.
That is one of the things is like they keep winning in the playoffs, but Drake May hasn't played well. Part of that's the teams they're playing, and part of that is just kind of the way the games have gone and that kind of stuff. But
they've played more difficult defenses.
Yeah, if I'm the Patriots, like if I'm Patriots fan, I'm looking at Drake May is struggling against the Texans defense. Yeah, that happens. That's a decent defense. That's a good defense. Struggling against Denver's defense. That happens. That's a good defense. Especially in the snow. Now you're struggling. Now you're going to play Seattle, the best defense in the NFL.
Right.
The team that gets after the quarterback with just 4 better than anybody else. The team that covers coverage on the back end is as good or better than anyone else.
The
number
weapon,
1,
Ernest Jones in the middle with 6 interceptions on the season.
6 interceptions, despite being thought of as a guy that plays the run well, but not the pass.
Right place, right time. He's a very instinctive player. Interesting. This is going to be fascinating, Keith. Let's get out of here for now. Let's come back and do the other show this week. And before, I'm trying to get Dan Viennes on the show before the Super Bowl, just to kind of have another voice in here to talk about all things Seahawks football prior to that game. So that's something to look forward to as well. That's it. Let's get out of here. Fun show. Thank you. Very informative. I feel better. Like I feel better and more secure in the idea that Seattle's offense can dictate terms in this game. Before in the last show, I think I talked about maybe the Patriots defense coming on and playing a little better down the stretch, but I think you've clearly showed that that's, while maybe true, there's a lot of varying factors to that aren't necessarily associated with the advanced stats. And Seattle's offense should have the ability to exploit some some matchups and dictate terms on offense in this game.
Yeah.
All right. Find Keith on Blue Sky at Myers NFL. You can find me at NW Seahawk, the show Seahawks Playbook podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform and our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Seahawks Playbook podcast listeners, thanks for joining us for another edition of the show. You can find us on Twitter. Bill is at NW Seahawk, Keith is at Myers NFL, and the show is at Hawks Playbook. You can listen and subscribe to the show at SeahawksPlaybook.com.